أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الكريم وعلى آله وأصحابه ومن استنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, we couldn't do two back-to-back weeks on Sunday, so I decided that on today on Saturday we're going to forward this series because we are only left with maybe 1 or 2 weeks, then we'll be able to finish the life story of the 4 Imams. So we talked about starting with Imam Abu Hanifa, we talked about Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, and we started the last and the 4th Imam, Imam Ahmad Ibn Hambal. So today we're going to talk about a very important part of his life, Imam Ahmad Ibn Hambal, and then inshallah the next week probably we'll finish with his life story, and then one more week to summarize all the stories that we have heard and learned from. So inshallah let's start with what we did for Imam Ahmad Ibn Hanbal. So we talked about his name, his birth year, his status in our deen, how poor he was, and he was raised by his mother who was a single mother because his father died very early in the age. Okay, just like Imam Shafi, he had the same thing. And we talked about his childhood, his marriage, how he was married with one woman for up to his years 70 years old. Then that wife passed away, and he got married to another one. We talked about his teachers, all the teachers, and it says in some of the narration that he has 400 teachers. 400 teachers in his lifetime, meaning whenever he wanted to go someone, he knows that someone knows something, he used to go and learn from him. So, and it is documented, authentically documented that he has almost over 400 teachers that he learned from. And when in his older age, even if some people used to come to his house as a guest, when he was a sheikh, he was a big sheikh, a famous sheikh of that time, and he knew that this person has some adab in it, the way he's eating, the way he's talking, he used to call his family and say, look how is it. He used to even learn from this person. So he's always seeking for knowledge at the time. We talked about his ibadah. All this imam has some special quality given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That like Imam Shafi, he used to recite the Quran twice a day. In the morning one time and then in the evening one time. So every imam has some special quality of speech, the quality of memorization, quality of ibadah. And we said that Imam Ahmed used to pray after Maghrib till the Fajr time, because this is his opinion that after Maghrib prayer, anything you pray nafila, that is considered as Qiyamul Layl, because the line starts from there. And he used to do 300 rakah every night, 300 rakah. And sometimes it may sound that this is exaggeration. How can a person do that? But these are authentically documented. You will find it in every book, and nobody lies about this kind of shaykh. But obviously we cannot reach that level. But why are you listening to this? Because at least if you can do like 10th of that, or maybe 1/20th of that, and we do it continuously, inshallah ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will reward us, by listening to these stories. And also his name and fame, and he becomes very famous by the age of 40 because Imam Shafi, he left Baghdad and he went to Egypt, as we talked about, in year 199 AH after Hijrah. Imam Shafi said, I have taught in Arabic, you have learned, and Imam Shafi was the full praise of Imam Ahmed. And he never considered him as a student actually, because there are not very age difference between these two people. So he used to say he's my brother, like a younger brother. And he said, I left Baghdad with you, and I'm going to Egypt. And that's what he did. He went to the Egypt, Imam Shafi, and we know that he passed there, and he left the whole Baghdad. And as I told before, the Baghdad is the main city of the Muslim Ummah at that time. A lot of people from different sides, and all the Khalifa, all the capital, everything is in Baghdad. So he left Baghdad with him. And some of the narrations said in his halaqah, there used to be 50,000 people of that time. Imagine, even nowadays in an Islamic conference, you won't find 50,000 people. But one thing to understand, how 50,000 people will listen to him, because there's no mic at that time. There's no microphone, there's no sound box. So if he says something, how people will learn? People used to learn by doing the same thing that we do in the salah. If you don't have like muqtadi. So Imam Ahmed used to say a hadith. The people in the first, second row, they used to repeat the same hadith loudly. So the people in the row at the back, they used to repeat the same thing. And it just keep going, keep going, keep going. Then he used to say something else. So even for that, 50,000 people used to gather in his halaqah. And especially in the first few rows, he was always invited the poor people. The really, really poor people, they are the first priority of Imam Ahmad Ibn Hambal. They used to sit in the first row and they used to eat, after the gathering. They used to, and he used to serve food to them even before the ulama of that time. So the ulama used to come and listen from him, but he used to do this one because he thought the poor has the most right to do that. Okay? And some of the scholars said in his halaqah 50,000 people, only 5,000 people used to write down his masail, whatever he's learning. Another 45,000 people used to listen and learn from his adab, that how he's talking, how he's mentioning an issue, how he's talking about that. And Imam Ahmad at that time actually didn't publish any book of fiqh, of masail, but people used to write down his thing. And that's why once he passed away, Imam Ahmad passed away, there's so many books of fatah of Imam Ahmad Ibn Hambal. So he is the scholar, only scholar in Islam. He has the most number of fatwa documented. No other scholar, no other imam, no other sheikh has this many fatwa, this many masail in any kind of fiqh issue like Imam Ahmad has. So what is the great thing and what is the most important thing about his life that we're going to talk about? It is called the fitna of mihna. It's called mihna, the mihna. What is mihna? That's what we're going to talk about today in a very short way. To understand mihna, the first thing that we know, mihna is a fitna. It is about the aqidah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Meaning there was some people, they used to say the Quran was created. To understand the fitna also we need some knowledge, because our time, we are so behind in knowledge. We don't even understand what was the issue, And this great man has done so much for this ummah, And you cannot imagine, some of the scholars say there are two people after Rasulullah who saved the deen. Allah saved this deen of Islam through two people. One is Abu Bakr, when in the time of Ridda, when the people said they're not going to pay zakah. And all the Sahaba, including Umar ibn Khattab, they say, no, that's fine. Don't fight against them, Abu Bakr. Because they are still praying. Let them go. That's fine if they want to pay zakah. Abu Bakr himself said, no, I'm going to go. And that is also, then he was Khalifa at that time, he said, no, if nobody's coming with me, I'm going to go fight by myself. But I'm not going to let the deen of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, what Prophet taught him. So he saved the deen. And this person, Ahmad ibn Hambal, he saved it because of this fitna al-mihna. So what is mihna? Mihna basically a thought, a idea that an idea that the Quran was a created thing. It is not the speech of Allah. So this group of people, there was a guy, his name was Zayd ibn Dirham. Zayd ibn Dirham was born before Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and it was in the time of Umayyad dynasty. So Ahmad ibn Hanbal, when he was born, that was the time of Abbasiyah, because Abbasiyahs ruled the Muslim Khilafah for a long time. So this guy Zayd ibn Dirham, he populated, he gathered some people, and he said that this kalam of Allah, it is not a speech of Allah. Allah cannot talk. He said, but the core of it, he said Allah cannot talk. Allah created everything, like Allah created the mountain, the sky. So He also created a book. As we say, the Quran is speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah is talking to us, okay, through Jibril to Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then from that we got it. But they are saying no, it is not like that. It is just a creation, just like any other creation. So the value of the Quran gets less. So at that time, that guy Zayd ibn Dirham, who was before Ahmad ibn Hanbal, he was killed by the Khulafa of that time, because he was executed, because this is a weird thinking. So nobody talked about that. Then after that, there's another person. That person is called Zaham ibn Safwan. Zaham ibn Safwan, he came in the Abbasiyad time, and he also tried to, he's in the time of Harun al-Rashid. He tried to propagate the same idea. So Harun al-Rashid, he is a good Khalifa, he is a righteous Khalifa. As we talked about a lot of time, Harun al-Rashid had interaction with Imam Malik, Imam Shafi, Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal also. So Harun al-Rashid said, no, I'm not going to accept that, okay? So he said to find this guy Zaham ibn Safwan and to execute, but Zaham ibn Safwan, he hid, okay? Nobody can find him, and he hid it for at least 4 years. So Harun al-Rashid passed away, okay? And his son Al-Amin took the Khilafah. Al-Amin was there for only for a few years. Then Al-Amin passed, and there is another son of Harun al-Rashid. His name is Al-Ma'mun. Al-Ma'mun, when he came, That time, this Zaham ibn Safwan, he came out from his hiding. And he came to Al-Ma'mun and tell him the explanation what he think about. That the Quran is not created, it's created, it is just a created thing. It is not the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this guy Al-Ma'mun, he is not a righteous person like his father or like his brothers. So he started liking this idea. And first few years, he appointed a scholar. And this scholar, there's Ahmad Ibn Dawad, he's a famous name in this one. He was the scholar of Mu'tazila. Mu'tazila was a group of that time, they also believed the same thing. Okay, and their beliefs are very similar to the Kharij's belief. Okay, that they're weird thinking about the Aqidah of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this guy became the chief, you can say the Imam of the Khalifa Al-Ma'mun. And slowly slowly they try to do, they try to establish this. Okay, and they put in the masjid, the main masjid of Baghdad, they said Kalamullah, makhluka, meaning the kalam of Allah is a creation. When this has happened, all the scholars get concerned. They said, what's happening? We never heard of this thing, and they try to protest. But because he is the Khalifa, he sent his soldiers to every scholar that he knows around that area, like Baghdad, Makkah, Medina, everywhere, wherever the scholars are there. He told them, make sure, bring them here, ask them what I am saying is the right. Okay, if they don't say it, then kill themselves. And scholar of that time say, all of the scholars, they said, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Quran, وَلَا تَقْتُلُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ, don't kill yourself. So don't just say, because it is in Islamic way, it is allowed that if someone put a gun on your head or a sword on your neck, that if they say that, don't believe this one, believe this one, you have to save your soul first. So that's what the scholar said. The scholar said this Khalifa will go soon, he will die. Because he was in a middle age or more than the middle age at all. So they said, we don't want to kill ourselves, okay? So we believe what he says, okay, because he's at least letting us pray, he's letting us, do siyam, letting us doing the hajj, everything is fine. This is just an idea, okay? So we will stick to, we'll listen to what he's saying, okay? Once he's done, then we can, change this in ummah. And all of the scholars of that time, they believed what, believe means at least in the mouth they, agreed with the Khalifa, except for two people, Imam Ahmad Ibn Hambal, and there's another guy, his name was Muhammad Ibn Nuh. Muhammad Ibn Nuh. So these are the two people that didn't believe. So obviously, Khalifa Al-Ma'mun, he know that he's gonna send his soldiers to both of these scholars. So they captured Ahmad Ibn Hanbal, and they also captured Muhammad Ibn Nuh, and they tried to bring him to the prison. When they tried to bring him on the prison, on the way Muhammad Ibn Nuh, he passed away. So now only Imam Ahmad left that he believed. And they came bring to Al-Ma'mun, okay, they're about to bring him. And the guard, the soldier said, do you know what Al-Ma'mun is going to do to Ya Sheikh? Because the guards also know him, he's Imam Ahmad, he's very famous. So Imam Ahmad said, yes, I'm not concerned about that. I'm concerned if I say what they're saying, then what Allah will do with me. So I cannot say what they're saying. And then on the way, he made a dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, make something that, I don't need to see this guy, Al-Ma'mun. Do something, Allah, that save me from him. Okay? But the guard is, holding him. So when they went to close to the palace of Baghdad, of Al-Ma'mun, a news came that Al-Ma'mun passed away. He had a natural death the last night, and he passed away. So Allah accepted his dua. He didn't see Al-Ma'mun. But after Al-Ma'mun, right away, the next day, Al-Mu'tasim, another person, his son, he took over. He took over, and everybody said, the last instruction from your father was to capture Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. What should you do with him? Should we bring him to you? You want to ask him something? You want to continue what your father is doing? He said, no, I have other things to look after now. Put him in the jail for a few years. Then we'll talk to him. So they put him in the jail for 2.5 years without even any judgment, any trial or anything. They just put him that, he should rot in the prison, and what to do. So in the prison life, obviously, he continued his prayer, he continued his siyam and everything, and they used to torture him a lot. Okay, they used to torture him a lot, just asking, say what they're saying, because all the people are waiting when Imam Ahmad will agree with this. So this is completely official, because he is the leader of all the scholars. Although all the scholars have agreed, but he is the most famous one, and he said, no, I'm not going to believe in this. So everybody is waiting when he's going to say that this is the one. So every day, every morning they used to ask him, what is kalam of Allah? What is Quran? He used to say, kalamullah ghayr makhluq. Kalam of Allah is not a creation, it is the speech of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they used to torture him, and he used to make dua. There's a lot of incident in the prison, and I'm not going to go into every details, but a few things that he used to say to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, oh Allah, whenever they beat me, make sure I am modest, my aura doesn't get off. So that's why, and it is narrated that they used to beat him a lot, and they used to wear pajama at that time. They don't have like pant, like jeans pant like we have. But wherever they do, nobody could took his pant off. It never ever his pant get off. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala protected him in this way, okay? And also the other people of the prisoners, they used to come and they used to know that he's a great sheikh. They used to learn from him in the jail. There was a lady, she was captured for adultery, and she said, don't worry, if I can tolerate this, I can tolerate the lashes that they give. After 5-6 lashes, you won't feel anything. Another guy, he said, I've been punished and I've been patient because I have been punished for my alcohol, my habit to alcohol. If I can survive because of that, which is a bad habit, you can survive for something very good. So don't worry about us. And it was said that all these prisoners that around him, when they got released, after they spent 2 years times with Ahmad Ibn Hambal, they become not only righteous, they become like ulama actually, basically. They become alim in the jail by spending time with Imam Ahmad Ibn Hambal. So what happened, after this, that they brought him publicly to humiliate him. So Al-Mu'tasim couldn't budge Ahmad Ibn Hambal at all. He's torturing him, he's giving him problem with the food, water. He used to pray Jummah. He wanted to pray Jummah. They never used to let him Jummah. So years after the weeks after week, months after month, he couldn't even pray Jummah. They never used to tell him, because after beating him, he sometimes feel unconscious, okay? They used to never tell him what is the time of suhoor, in the time of Ramadan, what is the time of iftar. But Imam Ahmad still used to continue and keep his fast. So they bring him now publicly. They say, okay, let's humiliate him publicly. Maybe he'll accept our agreement. But he still didn't fall. They make debate, and that guy Ahmad ibn Duwar, he is like the main sheikh of the Khalifa still that time. He used to debate with him. He said, didn't Allah say, Allahu kulli shaykhayn, Allah created everything, that does Quran not come in the everything? So all this debate, and Imam Ahmad used to reply him. And the Khalifa Mu'tasim used to say, oh yeah, Imam, give me one word, one kalima. Just say that it is the kalam, is the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I will let you go. He said, no, I will tell this if you can find me any proof from the Quran and the Sunnah where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, or Prophet Muhammad said, that this is the creation of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, not the speech of Allah. Then I will say it. But they used to beat him, after that he used to get unconscious and everything. So how did it end actually? So Al-Mu'tasim, after he beat him, publicly, tried to humiliate him, one day he came to the cell of Imam Ahmad ibn Hambal. And he said, hey Imam, last night I saw a dream. Okay, I saw a dream, and because of the dream, I wanted to release you. So Imam Ahmad got shocked. You kept me in the jail for so long, 3 years without trials, and then after that another few years in the prison beating. What was the dream that you saw? What was the dream you saw? So Al-Mu'tasim described the dream, and listen to this dream. And this is how he got out of the jail for the first time, but it will happen again. So he said, in my dream, I saw these 2 lions try to kill me. So these 2 lions tried to kill Al-Mu'tasim. And the angels came and saved me from these 2 lions, and they took me to your cell. And the angel asked you, Ahmed, what do you think about Quran? And Imam Ahmed said in the dream, Quran is, the Ghayr Makhluq, the Kalamullah, it is the speech of Allah, and it is not being created. So the angel asked Ahmed, how do you know about this? Where did you learn from this? So Ahmed said, I learned from, Abdul Razzaq. Abdul Razzaq was one of his sheikh, okay? So in that dream, Allah brought Abdul Razzaq. And the angel asked Abdul Razzaq, what do you think about the Quran? They said, Kalamullah ghayru makhluq. It is the speech of Allah, it is not created. Where did you learn it from, Ya Abdul Razzaq? They said, I learned it from Al-Ma'mur. Al-Ma'mur was another sheikh of Abdul Razzaq. So Allah brought the Al-Ma'mur in the dream. And they said, what do you think about the Quran? Same thing, same answer. How do you learn about this? Then Al-Ma'mur said, I learned from Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri. Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri was the first person appointed by Umar ibn Abdul Aziz to collect. He is another great sheikh of the great Imam of the Hadith collection. So Allah brought Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri in the dream and said, oh Ibn Shihab al-Zuhri, what do you think about the Quran? And he said, I think it is Kalamullah Ghairu Makhluk. It is the speech of Allah, and the same answer. How do you learn it? He said, I learned it from Urwa ibn Zubair. Urwa ibn Zubair was a tabi, is a Sahaba, and he's also learned from Aisha. So bring Urwa ibn Zubair. So in his dream, Urwa ibn Zubair brought and said, oh Urwa, what do you think about the Quran? Same thing, same answer. Where did you learn it from? Who told you this? Aisha radiallahu anha. She was the nephew of Aisha radiallahu anha. So bring Aisha. So in the dream, Allah brought Aisha radiallahu anha. Oh Aisha, what do you think about the Quran? She said, it is Kalamullah Ghairu Makhluk. Where did you learn it? And then Aisha radiallahu anha said, I learned it from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Allah brought Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the dream of Al-Mu'tasim. Allah said, Ya Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, what do you think about the Quran? He said, Kalamullah Ghairu Makhluk. Ya Muhammad, where did you learn it from? He said, I learned it from Jibreel. Allah brought Jibreel in the dream of Al-Mu'tasim. And he said, oh Jibreel, what do you think about the Quran? Jibreel said, it is Kalamullah Ghairu Makhluk. Where did you learn it, Jibreel? I learned it from Lawh al-Mahfuz. Allah, I got it from Lawh al-Mahfuz. Allah brought Lawh al-Mahfuz in the dream. And he said, what is the thing you think about the Quran? Same answer. Lawh al-Mahfuz said, where do you learn it from? Lawh al-Mahfuz said, I learned it from Al-Qalam, from the Qalam of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah brought the Qalam in the dream and said, oh Qalam, what do you think about the Quran? Same answer. And where did you learn it from? Also, oh Allah, I learned it from you. I learned it from you. Then Allah said in the dream, Sadaq the Qalam. The Qalam said the truth. The Lawh al-Mahfuz said the truth. Jibril said the truth. Muhammad said the truth. And everything is true. So when he saw this dream, and he said, Allah said it, and said, at the end Allah said, Ahmed said the truth. So at that time, Al-Mu'tasim, he said, I cannot take it anymore. This is a true dream, and it was a dream that, shook my head. So he released Ahmad Ibn Hambal. And Ahmad Ibn Hambal, after that, he been released for a few years actually. But Al-Mu'tasim, he passed away after this. And Ahmad Ibn Hambal started his teaching and everything. He's old now, okay? He's almost like, 50, 60 years old, towards the 60 years old. But there's another guy who came after Al-Mu'tasim, Al-Wahid. Al-Wahid, and he is also not a righteous Khalifa, and he again started the same thing. And he again, looked for Imam Ahmad Ibn Hambal, but at that time, all the people say, yeah, Imam, you should not give yourself to this time. Go away from somewhere from Baghdad. Hide yourself. There's nothing wrong, because, nobody will be with you. So he hid it, but after 4 years of hiding, they found Ahmad Ibn Hambal again, and he put him in the prison again for a few years. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made it happen just like it happened before, that this guy At-Wahid, he also passed away. And after he passed away, there's another person came, another Khulafa, Al-Mutawakkil. And he was a righteous Khalifa. And he executed all the people that were related to this one, all the groups, Mu'tazilite. And this was probably the end of the spread of Mu'tazilite thought. This guy Ahmad ibn Dawud also died. We'll talk about his death probably next week, because his death was almost similar time as Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. So Al-Mutawakkil, he ended the fitna basically, and he released again Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, and he told all the people, all the Muslim Ummah, that what Ahmad said, that was the truth, and he tried to give money and everything, his honor back to Ahmad ibn Hanbal. So the last thing I'm just going to show you today, just to give a quick idea. You can see here that Harun al-Rashid was in 170 to 193 AH, and then Imam Ahmad was born just before that, and he made his Hajj on foot. I talked about that, and that is when he was 40 years old, he will become famous in Baghdad. And that time Al-Ma'mun came, year 204 AH, after Hijrah. And then Imam Shafi is dead at that time. So Imam Shafi died around 204, 203 at that time. And then the Mihna start. For all this year, so he was in prison and everything. And you can see from Al-Ma'mun, the Mu'tasim, the one who saw the dream, and then Al-Wahid came, and he tried to prison him for a few years again. But he had a short life, so he passed away. And then you can see from 227 to 232. So around 5-6 years he was in the Khilafah. But this guy passed away. Then came the last one, Al-Mutawakkil, at the age of 241, and at the year of 241, and that is the time that Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal passed away. So inshallah next week we'll talk about his death. After he was almost 80 years old when he passed away, and we'll talk about his madhab, like how his madhab spread, in our time, and how it is preserved by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Jazakallahu khairan. Subhanakallahumma bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.